Secretary of the Agrarian Chamber of the Czech Republic. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For today, I have prepared a short presentation. You'll see that on the screen. It's in English, but I'm going to speak in my native language in Czech, because in English my slides make more sense, because I've prepared a presentation which is called the ABC of Common Agricultural Policy. So let's start with A, letter A. From our view, the Agrarian Chamber, we would welcome the possibility to have reforms of agricultural policy in decreasing the administrative burden, which today is a great problem, not only for farmers in the Czech Republic. The Minister Toman often speaks about the fact that farmers should spend more time in the field and in the stable, not at the computer. Unfortunately, administrative burden is very, very high, and some farms even have to hire special people who is employed just because to cope with the administrative burden. And smaller companies, without this possibility, the smaller farmers have much bigger problems with administrative burden. That's why we say that the reform of the Common Agricultural Policy after 2020 should bring a simplification, not only on the paper. Perhaps you remember that each and every reform which we've met since our accession to the EU, we were promised that there will be a simplification of administration, that rules will be more simple, and that thick book containing all the legislation, rules and regulations and requirements which the Ministry of Agriculture wants from you, that volume is increasing. So this is not only A, the first letter of the alphabet, but also something that makes the life of a farmer easier. I have given a couple of examples how to achieve that. One of these examples is smart systems, distant viewing, distance sensing, advisory service. And that's important because farmers will be required after 2020 still more volume of work, and if they want to achieve better results, even in protecting the environment and resources, it's necessary to have good advisory services. Of course, we have a technology of precise agriculture which could help farmers to cope with higher demands. My example is smart subsidies, claim forms, which could help in application for subsidies, and that could be a way we should opt for. We have the new delivery mechanism that must be implemented in a way which brings real simplification, and member states should create their own agricultural policy based on their own ideas and based their own local conditions. Nevertheless, the new mechanism must be implemented in such a way that brings real simplification, so that we were not drowned in paperwork. Getting to letter B of our alphabet, well, budget, and if the European Union wants more from farmers based on the proposal of the European Commission, it seems, based on different initiatives like new Green Deal, which was brought about with the new Vice President of the European Commission, then it will be necessary to support farmers adequately. Because today, not always is the support adequate, because your financial costs are increasingly going up. I was speaking about protecting resources, natural resources, and other requests, how to protect environment, and if the farmer should make ends meet. In the long run, the buyout prices are stagnating or even deteriorating, and it's necessary to support farmers in an adequate manner. We are speaking about 38% out of the budget of the European Union, but if we look at the figure from another angle, it means 0.38% of GDP of the overall European Union. And if we speak about giving 2% of GDP for defense, well, that's something which should be allocated for agriculture. And it's negligible figure, that 38%, because everyone's got to eat. That's the prerequisite. And yet another thing, European agriculture must be competitive. We have trade agreement so that we could export cars, so we have Mercosur agreement. On the other hand, we have great competitiveness within the EU, which means that we are pressuring the tariffs, and that endangers competitiveness and viability of farmers. We have markets with GMOs, and we have preparations for protection of plants, and that is an important and increasing trend. And our farmers have portfolio rather small to protect their plants, and their competition outside the EU could choose from a much wider portfolio of protective measures. And glyphosate, using glyphosate is something which we have to consider. We will start diminishing usage after 2020, which means that this is yet another competitive disadvantage of EU capping. If we speak about capping, it should be a balanced support of the overall agricultural sector. This is yet another priority which we as the Agrarian Chamber are promoting, so that there was no capping. For member states, it would be voluntary, and each member state is having a different structure of agricultural structure. In the Czech Republic, there are companies which, by capping from 2018, these are companies which are operating majority of agriculture, and that makes us sustainable and makes it possible for us to produce our own foodstuffs. And from the sustainability point of view, it is necessary to have enough biomass so that the soil in the Czech Republic was in good condition and it was fertile. And that's why, for member states, we should have high flexibility so that they were able to choose. And we're happy that the Czech Republic is promoting the fact that, in case of capping, we would opt for the variant of redistributive support. It means that small farmers, which we have in the Czech Republic, these small farmers would be more subsidized, and at the same time larger companies, which are enough, so that their support wouldn't be diminished.
Dalším písmenem v abecedě je D. The next letter in my alphabet is D, D for direct payments. And of course, at this point, we should discuss what the structure should be to avoid a revolutionary change. As you know, today we are used to payment per area, if I should put it simple. It's the so-called basic support, BISS, basic income support for sustainability, with which we should be able to face dropping prices and the demands of environmental protection. In our opinion, this should make at least 40% of the whole envelope, 60 if possible. 20%, in our opinion, should belong to support related to production, so-called sensitive commodities such as potatoes, hops, fruits, vegetables, and highly demanding animal husbandry. We see this as very important because since 2004, unlike the older member states, we have been applying payments per area, but unfortunately that directed some farmers toward focusing on just a few profitable crops, such as wheat or rapeseed, avoiding more demanding produce such as potatoes or hops, which is why we see the importance of this envelope as sensitive and important, and therefore 20% should be the target. We believe, as for the eco schemes, we believe these should be tailored to specific regions and preferably targeted at farm level. Because if you figure out a farm of 20 hectares, and if you should extrapolate this to the entire country, then of course you would be in little agreement with the real condition throughout the country in terms of commodities, in terms of biodiversity. So the policy should be linked to the entire system to react to the specific needs of a farm. And the last point, crisis reserve, which is a part of the whole envelope, the whole CAP envelope. If we face a problem such as we did on the milk market in 2016, we should be able to reach into this envelope without reducing other kinds of support. Another important question is E for external convergence. That translates into a kind of the just balancing of payments to the eastern and the western parts of the Union. We should achieve a real balance by 2030. At the beginning, we were only given 25% of what we claimed, and we were promised that over time the payments would be balanced out between individual member states, especially in terms of land price and labor cost. Labor costs are quite similar between the western and eastern parts of the Union. If you take a look at the price of land, land is in fact costlier now in the Czech Republic than in France. Therefore, the support should indeed be based on the real situation without basing it on 2004 figures. Now I'm getting to F for flexibility and fragmentation, which in fact means that the member states should enjoy a greater freedom in the selection of instruments within the Union. Higher flexibility at the same time should not result in fragmentation. We should not end up with 27 or 28 farm policies, depending on the outcome of the UK election this week. It should be more targeted on individual regions while maintaining a united market which should enjoy equitable conditions. And this should function also for the farmers who want to import to the European Union, for example, from South America, that relates to Mercosur, or from North America, that is CETA. The Czech Republic should be able to support, for example, export of cars to the Americas, and at the same time, agriculture should not be left out of these agreements. Otherwise, such agreements will threaten the welfare of the farmers. Now we are getting to G for genuine farmer, or active farmer if you want. This is also quite a big theme in the Czech Republic. You may remember times around 2006 when support of the diversification of incomes of farms, some of them enjoying business of agritourism or construction industry or transportation, yet most farms live predominantly on farming. And it was quite a complicated matter to solve it, and it wasn't really worthwhile at that time. Omnibus has decided that the active approach should be voluntary. We welcome this in the Czech Republic. We do not require that very strictly anymore of the farmers. Still have the small-time farmers in this country with somewhat more complicated access to market, and these many of these have decided to diversify their incomes. All told, we believe that this approach to active farmers is somewhat too complicated administratively. I'm getting to the end of my presentation. Age for happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And we have a new European Commission, quite a fresh one. We have a new parliament. We've had it for half a year now. And these new institutions should bring about new ways of thinking. And if we believe we find ourselves in a transitional period, then maybe this Christmas time and this transitory period, which should take 1 or 2 years, we should take advantage of this period to contemplate this host of questions which seem to be unanswered yet. With the ongoing debates, including the debates in the European Parliament, so we should be trying to find answers to these questions. Let me thank you for your attention, and let me wish the best to Czech agriculture and to our farmers and to our citizens, so that they're always able to find good Czech products on the market. Thank you.